Hey guys, what is up? It is John or Aram here, and today I want to bring you guys a life story about the first time that I ever bought and smoked weed. Now, this life story took place around the middle of 8th grade year, and at the time, I was experimenting with tobacco products such as cigarettes and mini cigars like cigarillos, and it's safe to say now that if I knew better back then, I would have never done it because it's addictive, it leads down a long path, and it kills you really fast. Don't go out and do that, guys. I do not condone any tobacco products at all. So, at the time, I would come home from school every day, and my friends would Skype me and tell me how baked they were, and how they could think clearly, and how they felt good, and just basically describe to me the feeling of being high. And I really wanted to feel that. So, I was trying my hardest just to ask random people if they knew any weed dealers or if I could hit them up for weed, which now that I know better, guys, don't do that because there are a lot of snitches out there. Only ask close friends that you know well for weed dealers or dealers in general about with dealing with drugs, because you want to keep your friend group tight and there's a lot of snitches out there. One day I walked into school and I came to my first period class, which is technical drawing, and I sat down at the computer terminal next to my friend. And at the time, that friend was actually selling me cigarettes. So I didn't really have the nerve to ask him for weed because I didn't really know how he would react or if he even sold it. And I started talking with him. And at the time, I was a little bit low. I was a little bit kind of sad because I didn't really have any, and I knew that I probably wouldn't get any anytime soon. But I was sitting there, I was talking with him, and we were talking about drugs and just weed and cigarettes and everything. And I brought up about how I wanted to try weed because I've never smoked it before. And my friend's like, hey man, if you get me 20 bucks, I can hook you up with a gram. And at the time, that was just like magic. I'm like, holy shit, really? So I got all excited. I was happy. I was just enthusiastic about the whole idea, and I was like really hyper. I was like, "Hey man, when, where, how are we gonna do this? Where do I get the 20 bucks? When are you gonna give it to me? How's this gonna work?" And he's like, "Chill, dude. Just give me 20 bucks. I'll get you a gram tomorrow, and it's all that. We're good." I'm like, "Awesome, man." So I go home that day, and I work a job just mowing a guy's lawn, and I earned 20 bucks for that, which at the time I thought was a lot of money. The next day I bring it to school and I walk into first period. I'm all psyched. I'm just so energetic, and I was really happy because it was my first time. So I walked into first period class and I sat down next to him, and when no one was looking, I slapped him up and I quickly handed off the 20 bucks to him. And I thanked him. I asked him for a gram. He's like, "Yep, just gram coming up." And the rest of the day, I remembered I just could not wait to get out of that classroom and get to the next day. So the next day rolls around and I wake up, and I even put it in my reminders, get high this afternoon, because I was so excited. And I get up, I take a shower, do all my stuff, get ready, put on my cologne, go to school, and I walk into first period class and I'm just bouncing off the walls, but I'm trying not to show it because I was just so excited because I was finally get to do a popular drug among teens and everything. So I walk into first period, I'm sitting down and I'm trying to play it cool and everything. I'm not really that excited when I was I was so happy. And he comes over and he sits down next to me, and we just start talking about random stuff. And I secretly say, when no one's listening, I'm like, "Hey man, you got the stuff?" And he's like, "Yeah, I got the stuff." And I'm like, "Sweet." I was just my heart kind of dropped because I was a little scared because I knew he had it in his pocket because that's just the way he sold drugs. But at the same time, I was really excited. So he tells me to go into the bathroom and he'll meet me there in about 5 minutes. So I go into the bathroom and I'm just waiting there playing on my phone, and he walks into the bathroom. Now I'm going to give him the name Larry and my other best friend Bob. Now I told my best friend Bob that I was getting weed from this guy. And Bob did not believe me. So Bob saw Larry get up to go into the bathroom and followed Larry there. Now, I was sitting in the bathroom, and as soon as Larry opened the door, he came over to me, pulled it out of his pocket quick, kind of gave like a quick side look, and then just handed it off to me real quickly. I put it in my pocket, and everything was cool. Right after that, Bob busted in the door and scared the crap out of both of us because we thought it was a teacher. Now, I didn't tell him at the time that I actually just got weed, but I told him after school about it, so like he wouldn't really get suspicious and like bug me about it. So I go into the bathroom, like the bathroom stall, and I sit down on the toilet seat, and I open the cigarette pack. Now he gave it to me in the cigarette pack wrapped up in a plastic baggie. I open the cigarette pack, I unravel the plastic baggie, and I just take a huge whiff. The best smell I've ever smelt in my life. I'm like, this is heaven. To this day, it is the best smelling weed I've ever had. And that happens with a lot of first timers. Like the first weed you ever smell is like the best, pretty much. So I'm sitting there, I'm examining it. I'm like, is this actually what weed looks like? And like all that stuff. And I was just like so hyped. Like I'm like, I hope he didn't rip me off and give me like oregano or some shit. And I put it in my pocket, and I go back to first period. Now, I'm sitting there, and I am really paranoid, like very paranoid, because I was thinking to myself, hey, this is drugs, this is bad, this is really, really dangerous and illegal. And I was thinking to myself, and I couldn't really calm myself down because I had about a little bit more than a gram of weed in my pocket because he hooked me up good for my first time. He gave me a little bit more than a gram. And I was sitting there with a little bit more than a gram in my pocket, and I was shivering. I was shaking. And I was scared. I was just like, wanted to go home. I wanted to make it through the day really quickly. And I could just feel every minute go by. It was the slowest class and day ever. So I end up going to second period, and I sit next to Bob. Now this is where the story gets crazy. I'm sitting there, and my science teacher is teaching the lesson, and two police officers walk down the hallway. And as soon as I see that, my heart drops. I start shaking uncontrollably. I'm like really scared, really, really paranoid. Partially because I didn't want to get caught, and the other reason was because I haven't smoked it yet and I wanted to experience it before I was gonna get put in jail if that were to happen. So I would have been really pissed if that happened. So Bob ends up seeing them too, and he knew that I was gonna buy weed sometime one of these days, and he's like, they're coming to get you, man. And that just did not make it any better at all. So I'm sitting there, I'm shaking, and suddenly the principal comes in. He comes in the classroom to like do his like teacher examination, like to make sure that the teachers are doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're teaching the right curriculum and everything, and staying on track and staying focused. And the principal comes right behind my desk and sits directly behind me. And I got so paranoid that I got tunnel vision, and my stomach started to really hurt because I was just getting butterflies and anxiety, and I was so scared. And I was just thinking a million thoughts. I'm like, what if he can smell it? What if he sees it? What if he knows? What if he's just waiting and trying to like wait for me to slip up and fuck up and everything? So I'm sitting there in the classroom, and he eventually leaves, and we end up going to third period. And my third period is world history. So I'm sitting in world history, and my stomach is just killing me. Like, I am so scared. I have so much anxiety that my stomach was really hurting badly. So I called my dad. I asked to go to the bathroom, and I called my dad in the bathroom. I'm like, hey, can you pick me up? I'm not feeling good. And he's like, yeah, sure thing. And I ended up hanging my phone up, go back to my classroom, and asked to go to the nurse's office. And I'm sitting in the nurse's office, and I told the nurse I called my dad 'cause I'm really not feeling good, and I kind of want to go home. I might come back later. And at the time, I wasn't like feeling like I could go home, but I figured that if I was feeling this bad, then I could probably go home and I wouldn't have to be paranoid the whole day. I'd probably feel a lot better once I got home and all that stuff. So I'm sitting in the nurse's office, and my stepdad suddenly comes in, and he's like, "Well, I'm here to pick you up." And I get my backpack, and I am out of there. Like, I walk out right before him. I'm in the car before he is. I am just ready to get the hell out of there. So I walk to his car. I'm in his car, and we end up driving home. And at that time, I was like trying to kind of act more sick than I actually was at the time, but I was really really happy. And basically I got home, and as soon as I got home, I got out of the car and I went straight up to my room. I got into my bathroom, and I opened my backpack, and I turned on the fan because I didn't want my whole bathroom to smell like weed. But I opened my backpack, and I start searching my backpack, and I can't find it. I have another pack of actual cigarettes in there, and I found it, and I'm like, here it is. I open it, and it's just cigarettes, and I'm like, oh crap, did I leave it at school? What happened to it? And eventually, after like 20 minutes of digging, I left it in like a secret compartment in my backpack, which I guess I was thinking like would kind of help hide it. But at the time, I was really scared, so I kind of forgot about it. And I pull it out, and the night before, I made like a little homemade water bottle bong, because at the time I didn't have the glass bowls like I do now. So I made a little water bottle bong, and I brought it into my bathroom, turned on the fan, I packed a bowl with weed, and as soon as I did that, I thought I was hot shit. I thought I was the coolest cat in the world. I thought I could just rule anything because I had weed. And I hit up my friend in school because like he always has his phone in school, and I Snapchat him, and I'm like, hey man, I got weed, dude. I'm sending him all these pictures, all these videos of like my snacks for when I get high, because like I was kind of nervous, but at the same time I was so excited, and I could not explain how excited I was to get high for my first time. So I'm sitting in the bathroom, and I had my bowl packed and everything, and the smell is amazing. I just remember smelling it like 20 times, just getting big whiffs of just the smell. It was amazing, best smell ever. And I end up lighting my bowl and inhaling, and I'm like, well, here goes nothing. So my bong starts to milk up, and I'm starting to get a lot of smoke, and I can kind of feel it. And it's a different feel than tobacco smoke. It's definitely like you don't really feel it going down your throat, like, or like going into your lungs that much until towards the end, when like you can feel your lungs start to fill up with it. But I finished, like, it was like a little snapper. I finished the bowl off in one hit, and I held that shit in my lungs for like 30 seconds. I just held it in. I kept taking deeper breaths. I kept taking deeper breaths until I just couldn't hold any more in my lungs. And I exhaled, and I just kind of looked around, and I'm like, I'm not feeling anything. I'm not feeling high. I'm not feeling a head buzz or anything. And at the time, I kind of knew that the first time you smoke weed, normal people or like some people won't actually get high. So I figured that I just had a case of my first time and I wasn't getting high. So I ended up packing 3 more bowls, and I finished 2 bowls in 4 hits. And at that time, I just took 5 hits of the bong, 5 hits. And these were some mids, so they weren't like dank, but they were okay. They're decent. And I go to sit down like on the cover of my toilet, and I was sitting down, and I just put my head down in my hands. I'm like, what the heck? Did I just get ripped off? And I'm like, oh my god, I bet I just got ripped off. And then after about just 2 minutes of thinking if I got ripped off or if he was legit, I stood up and it just slapped me in the face. It came out of nowhere. I just, boom, instant bake. I was just baked out of my mind. And I'm like, holy crap. And I'm just going to go ahead and describe the feeling. Like, I felt a little bit off balance. I felt like my eyes kind of were relaxed, like into my head. Like I didn't really feel like they were like pushing out, and like bulging. I kind of felt like a little tingly sensation throughout my whole body, kind of like I was getting a little bit of a light massage. And I just started thinking about just being high, weed in general, and I thought for about 30 minutes, and I lost all concept of reality. And I got in the shower, and when you get in the shower from like a cold environment, when you get into like a hot environment or like under hot water, you just get so much more high. Like it just instantly goes up like 10 notches. You just get baked out of baked in another dimension. And I was standing in the shower, and I'm like, what is life? And I was just pondering. I'm like thinking about a million things at once, and I'm feeling kind of like this little tingling sensation. And I'm like, so this is what it's like to be high. And I just started laughing at like jokes and stuff. And I remember researching earlier about how one of the common side effects of being high is the munchies. Like you get really hungry. And I wasn't really feeling that. I wasn't like, I'm not really that hungry. But what I did have was advanced cotton mouth, like just straight up cotton mouth. Like my mouth was so dry, it was like a desert. Like my tongue felt like sandpaper. My mouth was so dry. So I got out of the shower, and I ended up drying off and everything. I put everything up really quickly, and I made sure not to spill any weed or anything on the ground because I was going to use every last leaf. And I went to go sit down and just look at my phone, and my friend just Snapchatted me a million things. He's like, dude, are you high? Dude, what is it like to be high? What is it like to be baked? And I was just explaining to him, like, I felt like I was getting kind of a light massage, a kind of a tingly feeling, just a little bit kind of out of reality in like a dream state. And all of a sudden, I get really hungry. I think about pizza, and I get really hungry. And we had pizza downstairs. But the thing is that it's like since I was high, I was paranoid. I thought my mom would like catch me, or my stepdad would have been like, "Hey, your eyes are kind of glazed over. Are you good?" But that didn't end up happening. And now I know, like since I'm semi-experienced now, I always have eye drops and chapstick and Altoids and some kind of thing to water my mouth and kind of keep it from being cotton mouth. And I end up going downstairs and eating a whole pizza, like an brick oven pizza. I put it in the oven, eat the whole thing in about 30 minutes. And I'm sitting there, I don't even say a word, and I'm just thinking about a million things. I'm like, school, did I just come from school? Oh yeah, that's right, I did. Oh, I'm high right now, that's right. And as soon as I would like think like, oh, I'm in real life right now, I would just go back to a daydream state. Best feeling ever. Now, I went back upstairs, and I got into my bed, and I went to go to sleep because I was pretty tired. And I lay down and start closing my eyes, and I feel like I'm falling. It was like the weirdest kind of like feeling ever, because I felt like I was like falling off of a cliff when I closed my eyes and was laying down. When I was standing up, I didn't feel like I was falling, but when I was laying down, I did. So my body, all my muscles felt so relaxed. My whole body was just in kind of a deep state of relaxation. And I was sitting in my bed, and I laid down, went to sleep, and woke up a little later. Now, when I woke up a little later, I got really scared because I kind of got anxious because I was still high. The thing is that since this was my first time, I'm not sure if it was a placebo effect or any of that, but I woke up and I still felt baked, just out of my mind baked. And I got scared because I thought it wouldn't go away. because I had school tomorrow and all that stuff. And I ended up just going to sleep, sleeping the rest of the night, and waking up for school. And that's it. And I was not high. I didn't feel high. There was no aftermath. I just felt just like I did before I got high. So that was the first time I ever smoked weed, guys. That was my last story. If you guys enjoyed that, leave a like. If you guys want more, just subscribe to the channel. I'm not asking like for a ton of subscribers and everything. I'm just saying if you enjoyed it, feel free to like and subscribe, and leave me like a comment on what you guys want to hear next. Peace.